This is Beyond the Blue Badge, brought to you by the Microsoft Alumni Network, where we dive into Microsoft alumni stories that inform and inspire.
Welcome to Beyond the Blue Badge. I'm Becky Monk, CMO of the Microsoft Alumni Network.
Hey, Becky, and I'm Larry Herb, also known as Major Nelson from Xbox. Today, we're exploring one of the biggest transformation in Microsoft's history, the journey to the cloud. We'll hear from alumni who helped shape Azure, software as service, and the partner ecosystem that powers Microsoft's cloud today.
We've got stories from Steve Guggenheimer, Bob Muglia, Gavriella Schuster, and Karen Fazzio, each with a unique perspective on how Microsoft evolved from box software to a global cloud powerhouse.
All right, let's start at the beginning. For many at Microsoft, the journey to the cloud started long before Azure even had a name. Here's Steve Guggenheimer, who joined Microsoft in 1993, reflecting on his path from physics to Redmond.
I had a pretty good run for 27 plus years, a variety of roles, mostly sort of bridging technology and customers and partners. I've got a physics background, but I'm not a coder by trade. So was able to translate. So worked on product teams, worked on segment teams, ran both our hardware and our software ecosystems, and finished up doing a little work on AI.
Steve's story is a reminder that Microsoft's cloud journey was built on a foundation of curiosity, adaptability, and a willingness to learn.
The move from packaged software to software as a service is one of the hardest transitions in Microsoft's history. Here's Steve again.
One of the interesting changes in the company is when you move sort of from each of these platform shifts from packaged software to client server to SaaS. That one is incredibly tough because it's a sort of a CapEx to OpEx shift for the customer. The field is used to getting these sort of really large deals versus these ongoing run rate deals. And there was a lot of work to figure out what's the right incentive model for a sales force in terms of how much do you get paid for the new stuff versus how much you get paid for the stuff that keeps the lights on. And there's a delicate balance.
And it wasn't just about sales. The partner ecosystem had to change too. Some partners made it through the transition, some didn't. The only constant was change.
Let's talk about Azure. Bob Muglia, who joined Microsoft in 1988 and eventually led the servers and tools division, was there at the dawn of Microsoft's enterprise push.
Well, I was pretty intimately involved in building the server business at Microsoft from the earliest days. And it was the server products that also helped to drive the creation of the enterprise sales force. Having those products gave credibility to what we were doing in some ways that you couldn't just do by selling Word and Excel. Well, it was really special being at Microsoft in the early days because we were doing something that nobody else was really doing. You know, we were changing the way people work with information in more fundamental ways than any other company on the planet at the time, and doing fundamental innovations. By bringing out products like Windows and Windows Server, we were able to automate businesses in ways that they could never be automated before. In fact, small business was automated on Windows Server. It just was. And that transition from a pen and paper approach to doing business to a spreadsheet and tax system and business accounting system, all of those sorts of things happened on Microsoft software.
Bob's leadership helped Microsoft become the de facto server platform for business. But getting businesses to take the next leap to the cloud wasn't easy.
Here's Gavriella Schuster, who helped lead the cloud and enterprise business.
Azure was just a $10 million a year product. And I left when we had about $500 million. I was leading a portfolio of about $7 billion in enterprise and cloud business for the US and was able to turn over 90% of the ecosystem to be focused on cloud services, help build out the Azure marketplace and co-selling motion that Microsoft has with partners.
Getting market traction proved challenging. The competition was fierce. Gavriella said the team had to get scrappy, rethink their approach, and build trust with customers and partners.
If you think about what is the cloud just does it in a data center that isn't yours. And so we were still helping customers understand what virtualization was and to trust that technology. And then our first version of Azure was not focused on infrastructure as a service. Our first version was focused on platform as a service. We weren't focused on helping enterprise customers move existing workloads into our data centers. But when I started in this team, the team had spent a year trying to sell platform as a service, and it was not going anywhere. Like, nobody understood what it was. And AWS was already kicking our butts. Getting market traction for Microsoft around the cloud was really hard. We had Office, and so customers equated Microsoft Cloud with Microsoft Office. But even that was in the early days. And we'd had made a lot of missteps in supporting that for our customers.
Microsoft's success in the cloud wasn't just about technology. It was about building a massive partner ecosystem. Here's Karen Fazzio, who spent nearly 24 years at Microsoft, much of it in the global partner solution space.
My role was in helping to bring all of the goodness that Microsoft had between its readiness and its go-to-markets and its incentives, and helping to articulate that in a way to partners so that they understood all of the things that Microsoft's trying to do to partner with you so that you can do more and affect your customers in better ways. So, pivotal thing that happened to me when I became a director in the Global Partner Solutions Group. I had this responsibility through all of our digital work to help partners understand this cloud transformation thing. My epiphany was, we actually have to teach these people. We need to teach these communities, these partners, what this is really all about. We can't just keep throwing out messages to them. We need to take them through it. And so I started an initiative that was outside of my job, but just because I had a passion for them getting it. And it was this program called Cloud Ready. And we did an experiment around that to take it to some partners to help them learn. Like, let's just take you through all of the details of this and the opportunity and how to shape your business around this, actual instruction on how to do it. And we put hundreds of partners through that because you operate at that kind of scale to start. And then we could feed that insight back into all of our big, massive digital engines and empowerment engines. So it was created this self-education, like this ongoing education, infinite education of out in, like, here's what we know, here's what you know, bring it back in so we can keep teaching you smarter and better.
Karen also helped launch initiatives like Women in Cloud, empowering more women to participate in the $1 trillion cloud opportunity.
We need to help empower more women that are in tech. We need them to see their share of this $1 trillion opportunity. It is there for all of us to be able to participate in. And so we also need to help instruct and create community and access for women that are also trying to figure out their way through these waves of innovation and opportunity.
The cloud journey didn't stop with the infrastructure. Microsoft's cloud became the foundation for AI, Internet of Things, and new business models. Steve Guggenheimer describes the pace of change.
I mean, the world has evolved at, an incredible pace, and it hasn't slowed down. And the kids coming out of school today have a different set of building blocks. They have AI, they have artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, they have mixed reality, they have blockchain, they ultimately will have quantum. But if you think about in 25 years with that set of building blocks, the number of changes that occurred going from client to client server computing to the internet and weaving that into, as you noted, services as a way of operating, and now sort of AI.
What's the secret sauce to Microsoft's longevity? Steve credits the company's ability to embrace change and the leadership that guided it.
We're fortunate to have had 3 leaders at the right times with the right change in culture that have allowed us to continue to move forward. We have a culture and we have a mentality of change is the only constant, and sort of working with and living with change, where a lot of other companies struggle with that.
As we wrap up, Gavriella, who's also involved in the Women in Cloud initiative with Karen, said Microsoft's journey to the cloud and beyond is another step toward the fundamental mission of the company.
The thing I'm most proud of is that I was able to democratize technology, building this phenomenal ecosystem around Microsoft that has changed the way people do business, that it takes concepts that are very difficult to understand and makes them very real for people and changes their lives in ways that makes it better.
I think that's a great note to end on. Don't you, Larry?
You bet. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Blue Badge. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. Make sure you leave a rating and review and share it with someone you know. We hope you join us again for the next episode of Beyond the Blue Badge.